Welcome to episode 1 of the Push Pull Pedal series. Now, this is where we're going to go over how myself, as a current gym rat, is going to get back into the saddle, back into my love for biking, and I'm going to take you guys through the journey. Today's episode, we're going to go over specifically how we're going to structure the program. Stop that. As tempting as it is to just start diving into your training, just be like, I'm going to just work out as much as I can and then jump on the bike as much as I can. Good program design to make sure that you don't hit those weird plateaus where you get stuck or you get unmotivated. So before we start getting into talking about the bikes, the types of bikes, and then the types of resistance training and my schedule, we have to figure out how we're going to phase out the program. This gives you the best chance of success because what makes a good program is consistency. So I know it's going to ruffle some people's feathers because like, this is the best program ever built. No, this is the best pro. It doesn't matter. What really matters until you get to like an advanced phase, what's going to really matter with a program is consistency. That's what's going to dictate success, growth, and progress. Now, what that means is the most advanced and well-built program, no matter how amazing it is, will be unsuccessful for you if you can't stay consistent with the program. That also being said, a less effective program that you can do consistently will yield better results. So be realistic with yourself on what you can and can't do. As much as I would love to say that I'm going to be resistance training 3 days a week and then biking 3 days a week and then one more day of a combo of both, that's just not going to happen with my schedule. I can't train 7 days a week. I got kids, I got a family, and I got a business to run. It's just not going to work. So realistically, I know for me, I'm going to split up my phases accordingly. I think once I go into phases 2 and 3, I can adjust my scheduling. But what it's really looking like is probably 5 training days. Now that's split between cycling and resistance training. So this program is going to be split into 3 phases. Phase 1 is going to have 3 main goals. 1, cleaning up my diet. Now, that pretty much just means that I'm going to be eating healthier foods, getting more consistent with my eating schedule, and just not eating out as much. I know Postmates has just become so convenient and not cooking has, become a thing because busy, but we'll figure it out. Goal number 2 is about dialing in my resistance training plan. I'm thinking 3 days of resistance training so I can fit in more time on the bike. So those 3 days are going to be split into kind of like a full body push, full body pull, and then an upper body day. Now, I know that's not your traditional push-pull legs, but nothing about this traditional. So I do what I want. So the first training day is going to be a full body push. Stop that. It's going to look like front squats, a primer for my chest to make sure it's fully activated, and then a heavy chest pressing movement, and then something for biceps. This gives me a chance to kind of be a little bit more well-rounded. Some people say that's not enough exercises. Like I said, there's going to be another upper body day to get more upper body volume, and I'm going to be biking a lot. So I think my legs will be fine. The second training day is going to be a full body pulling day. Stop that. That's going to look like RDLs in a pyramid set, just like I'm doing pyramids for the front squat. I don't really need a primer for my back. I can feel it pretty easily. So unlike my chest, for example, so we'll start with a leverage lat pull down and then some type of heavy row, maybe landmine rows. I think that's going to be the way I'm going to go. And then another arm workout. And then another arm workout. So it's pretty well balanced between them. Now the upper body day, stop that. I think I'm going to prioritize shoulders a lot on that day. And then we're going to probably do a superset with pulling and pushing, where I'm going to do ring rows and then ring push-ups. If I don't have that available, I'll do a Smith machine version of it where I put the bar at a certain, like probably hip level. I'll do inverted pull-ups, Austrian pull-ups, whatever you want to call it. And then decline push-ups where I'm just standing away and I'm just doing control. And that's going to be my superset. So that's about it for my resistance training. Now, how I'm going to do the weights, the reps, and the sets, I'm going to make sure I get to a point where I'm going to push it so I get pretty close to failure. Because like you can tell from the program, there's not going to be a lot of variety because I'm trying to limit the amount of time I'm at the gym. So I know my intensity on these things are going to be relatively high. So that gives me 2 days for cycling. And that leads me to goal 3. Now the main goal for goal 3 is just get miles on the bike. On average, I can probably comfortably right now put out 10 to 15 miles. So I'm going to stick around that range. Wednesdays will be a solo ride. Sundays, I'm going to do it more of like a group ride. So it's going to be for beginners. The goal is just miles. The intensity is going to be relatively low. But like I said, we're just accumulating miles. I'm just trying to rebuild that engine and get my legs back underneath me to prep me for phase 2. Speaking of phase 2 is where we change things around. Now the goal for phase 2 One of them is going to be take the cleaner foods that I've been eating and just put myself in a deficit. So we really dial some things in. This is where also we're going to start introducing some supplementation just to see where I'm lacking in a few things. I'm thinking creatine, and I'm probably thinking something for electrolytes just to make sure I keep my water and my sodium content a little bit higher. When you start eating cleaner, you're going to be pretty low on sodium. So I'm going to make sure I supplement with that to make sure I don't drop too much, because I do want to hold on to some water, because when I go biking and I bonk out, that's the worst feeling ever. The last thing I want to do is start getting cramps all the time. And the second priority, our focus is going to be strength. Now, I know when we go into a bit of a deficit, some people are like, this is not the time to go into strength. I disagree. For my body, I know that when I do that shift, the muscle stimulus is super, super high. So for me, the biggest thing is just novelty. This is going to make sure that I'm able to make the changes that I want. I'm still going to be pretty fresh into this, so I should have some strength in reserve. And since now is the time to push it, this is where I'm going to push it. So training day 1 will also be a push day. Stop that. This is where we're going to go back to the good old-fashioned bench press, and we're going to go into an ascending set, which means we're going to start out with a warm-up, we're going to work up a little bit, and we get comfortable with whatever a heavy set is, and we're going to do 3 sets of that. So total 5 sets total. 1 warm-up, 1 working up to weight, and then 3 working sets. Now, after the bench press, I'm going to be pretty taxed. So I'll need to push myself on a machine so I can get a little bit more support and just focus on the chest entirely. My favorite's still going to be the pec deck, so I'll utilize the pec deck. After that, I'll hit 1 or 2 arm exercises, something for triceps because it's still a push day. Depending on how my elbow feels, I might just start with single arm tricep extensions, and then I'll go into deep skull crushers. All right, now the pull days are a little bit different. Stop that. I like rows, but I really want to get stronger in my pull-ups. So that'll be my main priority. Now, that doesn't just mean I'm just doing pull-ups. Maybe in the first week I will, but they're going to be weighted. The first one's just going to be a warm-up with just body weight, and then we'll go up into a working up state, a wet. And then we'll go up by adding an intermediate weight, probably 10, 15 pounds. And then we'll go into my working weight. I'm thinking that's going to be a 30-pound med ball, maybe 40-pound med ball. 40 pounds might be a push. We'll see. We'll test it out together, guys. And after that, I'm going to be toast after this as well. So we're going to go back into a machine. I'm thinking cables, but I really love iso rows. So we'll probably do the hammer strength iso row, and we'll do that. All right, and then we'll hit our 2 arm exercises. Now for us, that's going to look like a preacher curl and probably like a machine curl. I like the machine curl to finish off. The contraction's really, really high. I love that motion. But I'll have to test that one out. I might go to cables if they're not available. So one of those 2, I can use those interchangeably. The biggest one is the preacher curl because I need that deep stretch for my bicep. All right, and third training day, yes, this one will be a full squat day. Stop that. I'm really going to put a lot of emphasis on my quads. I'm going to need it for my bikes. And this is where we're going to go our ascending with front barbell squats. I know I did that before. They were more of a pyramid, but that helps give me that gauge of where my strength curve is. I think squats are still the king of movements. Some people argue it's the deadlifts. I can use them either way. I prefer squats. I love squats. So now that I know before how my pyramids work, I can kind of give myself a gauge of what my heavy range is for my ascending sets. And then I'm going to tear up my quads with leg extensions. Now they're going to be your normal leg extensions. There's going to be hold and goes. Hold and goes is you're going to hold the top contracted point for about 30 seconds. If you can do 60, hats off to you. After those 30 to 60 seconds, you're going to hit your 10 to 12 rep range. I'm thinking 10. 10 might be a lot, but we'll try it out. Now this is really going to cook out your quads. If you never tried it, try it. It is a very interesting intensifier. Now, instead of continuing on legs, because I do need them to get some rest, this is we're also going to put in shoulders. So this is more of like a full body day with squats as the primary focus. Now those shoulder exercises are probably going to be some type of lateral raise and then a shoulder press. If I can work in rear delts, I will. It's going to be more contingent on time though. So I will put those as optional for now. And then for cycling, okay, it's still going to be 2 times a week. The split's going to be a little bit different now. First day in the week, it's going to be about going as hard as I can. Stop that. I'm trying to use my range, that 10-mile range that I'm comfortable with right now, and just get faster. The goal is to hit that same route consistently and just drop my times, just get faster on the bike. I might throw up a couple times Who knows? I have trouble pacing myself sometimes when I get on the bike. I get a little overzealous. Now, the goal on the second cycling day, like I said, that's going to be with the group. That will be all about pacing myself and just getting miles back in there. Stop that. So I get a little bit of a balance of both now. And that'll really help me out. All right, phase 3, we're going to keep this simple. They're going to be 2 full body days. Don't know the split just yet. I might write it up here or here or here. I don't know. As I'm editing this video, I'll probably have a structure set up for myself, and I'll write it here somewhere. Now, with those 2 full body days, phase 3, this is where I'm really transitioning into being, I'm back on the bike, I'm a roadie again with a little bit of strength training. So this is where I'm going to be biking 3 times a week. And the priority for each of those days will also be different. One day will be all about getting speed out. Stop that. The other day is going to be all about getting as much distance as I can in a single ride. Stop that. And the third day, which will be with the group ride, that'll be more of my cool down type of day where I'm just taking it easy. I'm just building miles back up, just getting comfortable on the bike. Stop that. So 3 very different types of riding styles. I know my favorite. They're shorter, they're sprints because I find that they're the most effective time-wise. Now, the distance rides, I've done distance rides before in the past. It's very easy, especially if you're a cyclist and you guys know, that's very easy to spend time on the bike where you're like 3-4 hours in. I don't have that much time to get. So maybe I'll find a spot where I'm about an hour and a half into a ride and just get distance in there. Right now, comfortable at 10 miles. The goal is to get comfortable at 25 to 30 miles. At some point, I would like to ride a century with my dad out in Chicago, or maybe we'll travel to California together and do a ride out there on the Pacific Coast Highway. I don't know. We'll figure something out. We'll see where my engine is at. The diet in phase 3 is about getting back into my maintenance and maybe adjusting my carbohydrate range. I will need a little bit more carbs and energy because I'm kind of going to transition more into the roadie phase. For you guys don't know, that pretty much just means I'm a cyclist again. That works out every once in a while. All right, but that's it. That's how we're going to structure out the program. But I would love to know from you guys, are you guys more on the gym rat side and you're trying to find a form of cardio that you guys like and you're trying to get into road cycling? Or are you the roadie that's like, you know what, I should probably start strength training a little bit? I don't know. I'd love to hear it. Put it down at the bottom. Let me know where you guys are at. It'd be interesting to see where your guys' demographic is at and where the algorithm puts stuff out. Who knows? Like I said, I'm new to YouTube, but I'll see you guys in episode 2 where we actually start talking about the bikes.